So thanks for being here, and we will talk about our experience to you. I mean, we have a difficult task to keep you motivated in such a warm environment, but we'll do our best, not to be boring. So so that you are motivated. Just to introduce ourselves first, you can introduce yourself first.
I've done it several times, but I'll do it again.
But your
it's
role,
okay.
your role
I am Gula. I come from Greece. I'm the president of Petagma. Petagma is an organization by parents. We managed to get supported living in Greece with the guidance of Bob. And this is why we are here now to talk to you about our experience. I am a mother of a daughter of 43 years old, who lives in one of the houses, and who really is the reason why we started Petagma and the supported living.
Oh, Greg would like to join us. He's going to stay there so that he can go out if he needs to.
Yeah,
Okay.
Of course.
No problem.
And yes, we have already met. I'm Vasilis, and I am the manager and director in this organization. I have been working for Petagma.
Say that again.
Start again.
Okay. Yeah, it is. It is per water. Yeah. Help yourself. I just said that I am the manager and director of this organization, and I've been working for Petagma for 18 years, something like that. But it's quite a long time.
18 years.
18, eh? You know better than me. I'm not very good with
Wasn't born yet.
at that time, yeah. Yes, and I had the opportunity to start, let's say, my career from the UK. Where I was in Scotland, and I studied special education, and there I started working as a support worker. So in an organization called Garvald in Edinburgh. Thanks. So yes, it's I've started I've seen the whole thing from the inside, and I've experienced all the challenges and all the opportunities.
There it is. Oh, in the box.
In the box.
All part of the tools of the toolbox.
Yeah.
All good.
What did you need?
Projector.
We had the change of the starting time, so everything has to be reorganized.
Who's doing the presentation?
Sorry?
You want to watch it? You want to watch the presentation?
Who's going to do the presentation?
Yeah.
Us too.
Yeah.
And me.
And you as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're welcome to watch if you like. And if you're bored, you can go away. We won't be offended.
No.
So yes, and I just wanted to start by giving some kind of a cultural context, because sometimes we come from different backgrounds, and I think it's good to know more or less where we are. So Greece, just I will tell you what's the situation now, and after we'll go a bit back and forth. And now the situation in Greece is that there are some institutions where not so many but that, compared to other countries in the Balkans, I think there's around 1,000, maybe less, children living with or without disabilities living in institutional care, and there are around 2,000, maybe less, adults with disabilities, mental health issues, and chronic disease living in institutions. And there are also some supported living arrangements, let's call them like that, where around, not so many, around less than 400 persons with disabilities live, and the majority of the people live with their families. Just I want to start by just giving this background, the cultural Greek background, and just to let you know, that Greece, until the 50s or something like that, was a mainly rural, agricultural, let's say, society with very strong social ties, very strong social bonds, and with no provision for persons with disabilities whatsoever somehow. So at some point, some institutions were like not too many compared to other countries at the same time, because mainly the family bonds continue to be quite strong in this all the way through. But I mean, after some point, like Greece became more urbanized, let's say, then the needs of people changed, and still, so there was not any kind of support mechanism. And the only option was like institutional care. So I start with that because it's good to understand that when, for example, a Greek father listened to Bob saying there's more to life than services, I mean, he can understand, he will conceive it in a totally different way than an English parent, okay? Because these parents, like, they grew their children without any kind of support. So what they wanted at some point, I mean, after the 70s and 80s and the 90s, when they started like forming some groups of like advocacy groups, like of parents or families, they wanted some services. They were craving for any kind of service and support. So I just want to say that, like, to make like to put the things in.
And I think it's true as well, isn't it? Because people didn't realise how awful the institutions were. We worked with Penny up in Yamina, and we brought people back from Corfu and from Kerpera, and those people arrived covered in scabies, lice, drugged up to the eyeballs. They'd been severely abused.
Yeah.
Their families didn't know.
The public didn't.
They didn't know what was going on.
No. I mean, it was a time when maybe, at least in Greece, like the TVs, it was not like, the media was not like maybe so strong, and so that's just to give you the context. So some families started like wanting, they had like the same question, like all the families all around the world have: what will happen to my child when I will not be around? So one of these family members is like is Kula with other family members, they started like moving things around, like to create something like for their families. And I mean, you can tell the story, take the floor. And
so we started as a group of parents. Our children used to go in the same day center, and whenever we meet, we were saying several things, and finally got to this question that parents ask themselves every day if they have a child with intellectual disabilities.
Yeah.
What will happen to my child when I'm no longer around to look after him or her? So we applied to Penny. Penny is a wonderful person. She was the director of Theotokos, the day center that our children were going. And I said, whenever we look, there's only these big institutions. I can't imagine my daughter going in an institution like that. What happens in the rest of the world? So she told us about what happens in other countries, and she introduced us Bob, who came on the 11th of September 2001.
disaster.
With the postulate.
Key events.
I will do like that, and you will click. Okay. Don't be in a hurry.
Yes, that's easy to remember.
Just like that.
Yes. He came in Athens. We had long talks. And of course, we were all uncertain, what is this thing, what is supported living. And Bob said, why don't you come to England and have a look at the flats we have there? Okay, so we came to England. We saw the houses. And I thought, oh yes, this is a house that I could imagine my daughter to live in. Let's give it a try. So Bob came in Athens with Estelle Christmas. They stayed there for a week. They trained our personnel. We had some people to work with our children. And we started very frightened, very uncertain of what is going to happen. One of the grandmothers of the group gave us her country house in the suburb of Athens, and we started there for weekends. We thought, okay, if we see it's going well, this experiment, we go on further. So Bob had all the evaluations of our children. He had the plans, personal centered plans. That was the first time we heard about that, of course. And we applied to the ministry, and they said they wanted a program. Bob prepared the program. They put it in a drawer. They gave us nothing. But at least I'm very happy because I know when the programs from Europe came for the supported living, they used that program. So Bob should be very proud about it. And it was...
They didn't mention Bob.
No, they didn't mention Bob, but I
Give
knew
the credits to Bob.
I knew the program, so I could see that it was more or less a copy of the idea, and that is something that Greek parents owe to Bob as well, because it got on. It was the right start. That's very important. Okay, we had a vision, to have a house for our children where they could live with their friends, where the family would be around to help and see that everything is going well. And that would also be a great help to the brothers and sisters who had to carry this agony and this burden, how they would manage when the parents were not around. We started this house, but at the same time we realized that it was not enough a house for our children. It should have been a service. So we had to organize a service. By that time, there were other people from other parental organizations that were aware that there are other solutions, and they also started to try and start things like that. So houses really started. They were supported by the parents. We had to pay for everything, of course. There was no money at all. And we thought we have to do something. We have to have legislation for that. This service must be recognized by the state so that not everybody, it would help all parents to do something right, to start on a good basis, and help other parents to start as well. And then it would help us for later on for this service to survive. So while we started in 2002, it was about 2007 when we had the legislation. We had to press and gather all together and went to the ministry, and we found the minister. We've seen several ministers, of course, but we found somebody who was a doctor at the time, Ministry of Health, and he helped us in the ministry. So parents were with people from the professionals from the ministry, and they made this legislation, which was very good, really, very modern, very, we could do things without the usual bureaucracy of the Greek state. Okay, we've done that as well. We were very happy, but then what happens with the money?
What does happen with
So the depression, or the economical depression came. So what we thought we could do and give our pension for the children and so on, that was not enough anymore. And so we started all together to do the same round again to gain this money for the service. Petagma is a member of an association of parental associations for intellectual disability. It's also a member of the Federation of all parental associations in Greece with people with disabilities, whatever that is. say diabetes or other diseases or anything. So we had to come together with this parents' organizations, the representative organizations, and started pressing things, going to ministers. I think we've seen 9 of them who
have
were promising, yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
that
we'll
is
look at the
good.
matter and let you know. Okay.
We like elections in Greece. It's good. I mean, it's like democratic.
Okay. So after 9 years of a crusade and strong political pressures and hard negotiations, we managed to get finance, which is a daily allowance for each tenant in one of the supported living flats. It's not complete, it's not for the full amount, but it's a very good start. So it helps us, and also parents can give their donations. And so we carry on. We are relieved from this agony that all this effort will go astray without money. So we're sort of pleased now. Petagma has 3 flats.
Three flats.
Yes, with 4 people each.
Oh,
They live quite happily there. They go to day center. Their life has changed, of course, and they are very pleased. My daughter comes home, but after a while, okay, we have her as a princess. But then she gathers her things and she's going, I'm going to back to my friends.
okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Quite often I go and do a bit of
Wait a
training,
bit,
or we
please.
do a bit of politics, don't we? Or we do whatever is necessary from time to time. And frequently I take somebody who's got a skill. I took Andy with me. I brought people who've done. I brought Alan Vicky with me, and various
Yes.
different occasions. What's really interesting is coming from what is allegedly a well-serviced world. People visit Erica, other people in Petagma houses, and they say, why can't we do this? These are the most loving environments. And it's obvious the moment you're there.
So you are all invited. I mean, yeah.
I think it was Vicky who said this. She visited one of the houses and she said, this house is full of love. It's just the parents. The board of is parents mainly, but it's not just that. It's that we are there all the time. We stand by the personnel. We try to give our love, and all the people we know, we use them, and they are very supportive. And I think it gives me very great pleasure to hear Bob saying that.
Yes, our service is like a small scale one. It's a small scale service, but I mean somehow we aspire, we hope that will become like a good model, at least for Greece, and like to be like some kind of like torch bearers, like of change for Greece. I mean, we want to play. I mean, we like to play this role somehow to become a model of a good practice for. We don't do everything perfectly, but like we want like to create a model. One of the possible models, I suppose. Yeah, because we are quite aware that there are more than that. I mean, can you?
Yeah.
Thank you. So yes, I mean I think this has been already made quite clear that Petagma is a very good example of a collective effort, let's say. It's a real grassroots organization. It's an example of an active civil society where people who have the same problem, let's say, they come together to find a solution. As simple as that. So I think that's what we were from the beginning, and like I hope we will stay like that in the future as well. This is not like always easy, but you can discuss like that at the end about the challenges that we are facing for for our future, let's say. Okay, but I think that's like this is like a strong characteristic of the organization, a collective effort, a grassroots organization, an active civil society example. And also like another key feature of Petagma, I think, is like, and that has to do also with the fact that this like that partners like develop this organization, that like we remain like we remain very very much focused on like providing like quite high quality support, and there is like, you know, Kula already said it, there is already like there's like an ongoing like monitoring mechanism like to safeguard like like somehow this quality, like an everyday one, not like not with forms, like a real one, like with people like really interacting and like being together. And of course, from the beginning, I mean, we understood that like quality cannot be cannot be limited inside the house. I mean, and like whatever you do, however great it is, if it's not open to the society, to the community, it will not be good for a long time. I mean, so and like so this is something that we and somehow we understood that from the beginning that it was like this extroversion and this constant like focus on inclusion that safeguards like the quality and like safety also, and the safety as well of the people who support. Can you click? Thank you. I have like a video here. I think the sound is not like it's not working, but I will play the video and I will a bit translate. Okay, and there is like subtitles also. You can have like it's like a video just showing like some people in the flats that we support, and like I mean you will have a look. Να κάνετε λίγο πίσω. Να κάνετε λίγο πίσω γιατί κάλυπτε. Εντάξει, So there's this guy, he's called Thanasis. Don't think so. And we're in his room here, and you know, he explained to us a bit like his everyday life, what is he doing, and like you can have a glimpse of his room as well. And he's one of the 4 flatmates, and like this is the gang of 3 here, like going to rob, going out to rob
like the
bakery, like the guns, like you know, you cannot see them. Yeah, it's. No, so like he's like
The sound's not very.
the sound is not.
There is no sound.
There's no sound actually. Yeah. And yes, there is some kind of, you know, I mean, like people learn by doing. That's what we do. That's our approach. It's not like about I will teach you that and that. Like you do it. I mean, you do it, and you do it like with support, and you do it like with less support in the future, and that's how it goes. I mean, it's like this is my friend Leo. He's a good guy, Leonidas. He's very much into police like series, like detective mysteries and like that stuff.
Detective Poirot and things like that.
Yeah.
He watches that.
He's an expert in that kind of stuff, like the expert. Yeah.
Can you see or am I?
Yeah, I'm okay, yeah.
And he's seriously Stavroulas. He says a nice story. I mean, I don't know if I will stop so you can read. cooking and talking.
That's what we
Prepared, yeah.
talking.
She's a very typical old Greek lady. She talks like that.
What do you want to eat? I will cook you something. You have to eat it all. That's the bottom line.
Or you're in trouble.
I'm getting in trouble.
For Greeks, food is important. You know.
Are you going to explain?
Yeah, and it.
Each of the houses has a like, effectively a house mother.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Let me. Okay.
What time's the break?
Sorry.
I didn't hear you.
What time are we having break?
What time we have a break?
Ah.
I don't know. I'm not aware of that.
Can I just say that this going out in the neighborhood, in the first days, it was very unusual. People used to stare. Yes. So these were two ways. The one side of the coin is that the children were learning how to behave in the neighborhood and how to shop. The other was for the neighborhood to look at them and see how we treat and how we behave with people with disabilities. So gradually this was, more normal, and now they talk to them, they know their first name, and I'm sure it's going out is very, they feel so independent if they go out.
And safer.
And safer, yes,
Because
yes,
they know everyone.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yes, we'll tell more about that, like with some examples. I will start like now, like just like by explaining to you like our core, let's say, values, but I will not stay very much into talking because you already know this stuff and you know this stuff better than us maybe. But I will just show the values, and after I will show examples of the value of these values, like from our people doing things that like.
Vasilis, you should tell what Bob asked about this lady who lives in the house with them. Sikonomos.
No, yes. So yes, Bob, you can say that. You already know.
Yeah, the organisation, we said right at the beginning yesterday, you have to work where you are. So we can't say we do it this way, so
Yeah.
models don't work. But there's limited resources.
Sorry?
There's limited resources, there's limited money. To do things.
Yeah.
The way in which the parent group and Vasilis have responded to that is we've recruited somebody in each of the three places to be, if you like, the core person. You might call them a house mother, or you might call them, I don't know what you would call them, but these are women who make homes, aren't they? Essentially, they make
Yes.
homes.
Do they live in the
Yes,
They
they
live
live in
there.
the home.
They live
Yes.
there, yeah. They have one free day every
And
week.
then around them,
One day off.
Petagma employs people, sometimes to support the whole group, but sometimes to support an activity or an interest of an individual.
Yeah.
Yes.
There is
Yes.
stuff throughout the day as well, like doing things with the people, like depending on their needs somehow. So yes, that's like thanks Bob for spotting this, and like I don't say that like it is like it's an easy way to to work with one person who stays there, like it's a very demanding like process, but on the other hand it adds up to this like home.
He hasn't gone off with your clicker, has he?
Yeah. No, he didn't.
And I can always like do it like that, like here. So yes, I mean the first value, let's say, and I will give some examples of that after, is like to have to support real homes, and not like if you read like the legislation says supported living arrangements, and we don't want them to be arrangements.
Yeah.
we want them to be homes, and the way when we talk between us, I mean, we call them homes as well, and we want them to be homes. I mean, that's what makes the difference. And I think this difference between like a home and an arrangement is like all describes everything. I mean, somehow. So that's one of our first, let's say, values. And I mean, and Bob already and other people already talked about that yesterday. I mean, what is a home? I mean, it's just, if we can put it like in a few words, it's just a place where you feel yourself. I mean, if you just wanted like to say it like to take off the jargon, you know, and just like keep like the essence. So it's a place. That's what we want people like to feel comfortable, feel free to be themselves. Non-judgmental, caring spaces, something like that.
And what stands out for people that visit, I think, I'm so used to seeing it, but you know, there are people living within the three houses who are significantly more dependent than others.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
What really stands out is the way the more able people contribute to the support and care
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
of less able people.
Yeah.
You don't
Oh,
often
yes.
see, honestly,
Yeah.
in serviced environments.
But you know, even
No, they are
but this needs
Very
some kind
close friends, and
Yeah.
they help each other. And for the more vulnerable people, you have a boy who were trying to give him a kilo, but he doesn't get it. But the girls will always look after him, take water. If they go out, they will take care to take water for him, take his jacket, and they do things like that. They help each other.
Yes, it's peer support. I mean, yeah.
Family.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's a fun.
Family.
It's a family, yeah. It's yes, it's a family. It's peer support and a family, and you know sometimes this needs some facilitation. It doesn't happen like that. Like only it can happen, but I mean you need to create the conditions where this can happen because the opposite can happen as well. I mean as you know.
Yeah.
So I mean some kind of gentle facilitation is needed in order to arrive to that. I mean. And also, I think we need, in my opinion, this is very important. That size matters. I mean, in social care, at least. I mean, it makes a difference. I mean, because some people can say, I mean, like, they have like this very big flats like in Greece where 9 persons live with disability live, and they call it like innovative, supported, inclusive arrangement. I don't agree with that. I mean, I don't agree with that, and I think that like when you go beyond like the normal house, and just a house that you can find in the advertisements. Okay, if you go beyond that, you are directly out of the norm, directly out of what. I mean, in my opinion, I think we should be a bit like clear with that, and like for me, this is like it is for me it is clear.
Standards and regulations for this type of homes.
Yes.
We have standards for
And
regulations
how many people are in these standards included?
until 9.
Oh.
What?
We thought it's a lot until 9, you know, because when we developed standards and regulations for this type of home, initially we included just up to 4. We had a very big fight with the state because they also wanted to include up to 10. Finally, they included up to 6, and we still do not have more than 6. But even 6, I do think it's a lot, particularly in those houses where people need a lot of support.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because in this case, it seems also like an residential institutions. We have 2 such type of houses. We have community homes where people need 24-hour support and need more staff. And we have supported living with just 2 people staff. Nobody is staying during the night, just during the first period of time when they came out from the institution. And we also have very small supported living, like 2 people in one, developed in the house of 1 person that have been deinstitutionalized.
Yeah. I know.
You know, and also we have just 1 staff coming during the day, but in this case, these people do not need so much support. The staff is helping them to get a job,
Pay the bills.
Yes, we have to get a job, and practically they are sharing the financial resources they receive from the job and their allowances, because they are receiving allowances from the state based on disability degree. They receive money from the job, and they spend this for their food. The state just pay for the staff that is supporting them. All other costs are costs of the of those guys that lives there. And we consider that this can be, you know, in general, and this are good models, you know, like a transition house maybe, because we have already 4 cases when from our supported living people went for independent living. Just they went at their house, like I told in the morning one story, but they went there, they have a family, and now, you know, they decided that they would like to move and that they have financial resources enough to support themselves. And we have weddings parties and, you know, new childborns and so on and so on. That is very nice. But meantime, now we are a little bit, there are some, sorry for so long.
No, take your time.
It's
That's
interesting
that's all about that.
The state, the government decided that it would be nice to continue to developing such kind of supported living services, but they decided that they can develop these types of services within the residential institution, like, you know, but not within, in the outside, but within the budget of residential institutions, you know. And this is another model, because they bought houses, you know, outside, but they moved persons, staff from institutions to these houses, and this staff came with the same cultural
Mentality, yes.
traditions there. They sometimes bringing food from the institution to the house. That's a bad model. We are fighting now with the government, you know. All this we developed like 14 supported living community home. They are on the balance sheet of local public authorities and are paid by local public authorities. The houses are on our balance sheet because we were afraid that they will move persons back to institutions. But these are good models. Meantime, one of the risks I told is that the government can think that they can develop that, and even you give them training and everything like that, they will how to say, they will transfer the expertise from the institution to the supported living, and that is very bad.
Yes.
I think the difference here is that there were no professionals in Greece arguing this case. At the point at which Petagma started and Kula and the families started this conversation,
That's very nice.
they wrote the law.
That's right.
But yeah, the rules that you wrote were not for 9. You wrote for what you were doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Subsequent, and that's how Petagma operates.
Yeah.
The rules then were taken by government and reinterpreted without any, you know, the professionals in government, in my view, the ones I met, were, with a very few exceptions, were fairly immoral people, to be honest. They had immoral in the sense of they were, you know, they were being paid to work in the interests of disabled people, but actually they were just living on.
I see.
Living on.
But I have also one question.
Shall I just finish and then take your question? That we went through from that to arguing the case, and there was. I think remember the Argos program from Europe, particularly focused at Greece. Yeah, that we actually got involved in that because we saw the contracts going to builders. You know, anybody that was a mate of a politician at that stage. We ended up doing something up in Epiros, a place with Yanina. When the government came in to tell us what we should be doing, well, we were telling them we're not going to do that. But their monitoring process started off with counting the crockery and the cutlery. That was how they saw service. They had no idea about people. We had a celebration last year. 20 years
Yes,
of operation.
last November.
We were able to have this conversation, and you'd been having it for some time, with the bureaucracy, weren't we, and with the minister and at beginning, just about beginning, at a statutory level to understand this stuff. But the issue has been there've been no academics. There's been, from what I can see, no professionals. You know, that somebody was going to invite themselves here, weren't they? And Vasilis was not terribly happy about it.
Did they go to a different hotel?
You're wanting something more luxurious, you know.
Sorry, I interrupted you, but I think
And
I think the different setting is important.
But I have one question. Evidently, this is the risk when the government will decide to develop by themselves, these houses. This is about that risk. But the problem is another one. You saw the UN guideline on independent living. And you understand that they are promoting independent living. And through this UN guideline, those services, how can be considered? We have nice services, they have nice services. Families build the services. But from the point of UN guideline on independent living, we will not access funds from European Union to develop this type.
You probably heard me rattle on about this, Miller, but I have this argument in Europe, which is, for Christ's sake, stop talking about independent living and start talking about interdependent living. A real life. The problem with the term independent living, it relates to the social model, it relates to people with physical disabilities and sensory impairments, and it is about accessibility, it is not about relationship. Interdependence is about relationship. And that's the change that, our involvement in the ESPD is very clear. We want to get ESPD talking with the EU about interdependence.
Yeah, this independent living notion comes a lot.
I have a question. I wanted just to...
No, it's a very good question. I mean, and like,
Absolutely.
and I think it comes a lot from the. Sorry, you want to say?
No, the best.
I was just saying that like this independent living notion comes, as you already said, comes a lot from the disability activist movement, which in Europe is quite, strong at the moment. They have like a strong lobbying mechanism. And it's a lot because these people, they want to be independent. And because they were deprived of having independence. Like many times due to accessibility mainly. So they put on the agenda very high this, which is like understandable, but on a way, but like interdependence. I think the lobbying should be a lot, and the consultation should be a lot towards this disability activist movement. I think it should be a lot towards them. Because they influence the European policy towards like these notions of independence in a totally different direction from interdependence, in my opinion.
And my view as well, that this is not related to resources.
No,
I talked to Freddie, who's Frenchman. France has got more people institutionalised than anybody else, and it's because of the philosophy. It's not about money; it's about philosophy.
But also I think it is very important to clarify among us all those issues, because otherwise you will have such kind of international policies that will impact in a negative way some groups of people that cannot, for example, from the very beginning live independently. Anyway, they need somebody to support.
Is it possible to, Salis, would you mind if I just...
Yeah, of course.
I don't know whether it's a question or a statement. I'm that one. I don't know what it is actually. But a lot of what we talk about is service, isn't it? We talk massively around designing and setting up services, and you can design services in such a way where you're moving away from that passive recipient, where it's somebody's real home, they have that sense of home. But there is still that element of it being a service provision, and actually when you look at life from a socio-economic perspective, it doesn't really change a person's experience on that level. And I just wondered, I've not read that the independent on the accommodation side. I'll have to pick that back up and look. But has there been any discussion around home ownership within the strategy and the plans? Has there been any consideration that actually people as citizens have the right to be in a better socio-economic position and should have the right to be able to explore the purchasing of their own property rather than...
In times we consider that will be their own houses, but because we don't like to keep the houses on we are development organization, for example, not organization like service providers, And practically many people that went for independent living, we bought for them houses, and these are their properties, not our properties.
So it's in ownership.
Yes.
So rather than it being a secure tenure as a resident, which is one step closer to but actually having a mortgage, owning the home, the deeds being in the person's name.
Yes, that's a way forward.
Is that something that's on the table or being explored at all?
In the Greek context, no. In a European context, I'm not sure.
There's been some developments here, you know, so we have mortgage arrangements so that people can secure mortgage.
I guess-
Can I just say what happens with us, with Petagma, and with other organizations in Greece? We buy the houses for Petagma.
I see.
So the people live there, and I insist on that, not because we want to have that, to own the house, but if you try to find the house for supported living, they won't sell it to you. I was looking for 3 years with the money cash, and they wouldn't give us the house. We agreed, we went for the deeds, and they would call and say no, because the value of their houses would go down, one. Second, they don't want, somebody told me, my daughter cannot see every day these children, so I won't sell you the house. And he said, are you there? I was there, but with my mouth open, I couldn't answer. I mean, I would faint.
Speechless.
Yeah, speechless, yes. How the,
The
Imagine how rude.
The other thing that's crossing my mind at the moment is what Rebecca and Shelley were telling us, that progress doesn't continue to go in the right direction.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I remember being 20 years ago in Vancouver with people who had personal budgets, had secure tenancies, seemed to have really resourced ways of life.
Mm-hmm.
And if I went there now, I wouldn't see that.
Yeah.
So so the assumption that things are always going to get better is not necessarily true.
Generally,
So
in
if we're
society in
in a
general,
position
yeah.
of actually being debtors, but dependent on income from the state or whatever. We given our recent experience, because we've had 13 years of austerity here as well. Our recent experience, we've got to be very cautious that we don't actually, as a matter of principle, drop people in it.
It's one we were forced to, through all of that, we were forced to change our wording. So we used to say a home of one's own, and now we call it a place to call home. Right? Because in our culture, a home of one's own would infer you own it, bought it, and that was becoming a barrier for families to think about it because they're like, we can't. It's $2 million for a small house in Vancouver, and so we can't do that. And so when we shifted it, people started to rethink what is it you were talking about, what is home, right? And that's what we also did, and just shifted those words a little bit to remove the barrier.
Makes a difference.
And I don't think it'll ever change.
And I don't own the place where I stay, and I feel at home. I mean,
Yes,
to be honest.
exactly.
It's a thing. It's not a house.
It's a thing. It's a feeling.
Anyway, Ludmila said something very important. It depends the people who live there, what are their needs. What we try to do is have one person with great needs, only one in the house, because that makes life easier for everybody.
But they, other people can go to work and do they can put the budget together, and because in
the
this
programs
case,
can be quite independent. They don't need to follow. I will tell you some more now. We'll go a bit more into what we're doing like every day, and after, if you have like more, we can discuss because I will give some examples.
I have to say something because you said that they want with the money they give for the institutions to run a house, the government. Didn't you say that?
No, I said that the government developed our models of supported living, but they didn't like just, to have separate budget for the houses. They included them in the line under the institutional budget.
Ludmila, I wish they gave us the money they give for each tenant in one of these big institutions. They are 3 or 4 times more than what we spend.
But I'm wondering,
and you can't compare the quality of life.
But it's not only a matter of the amount of money. It's because if you give the money through the institutional mechanism, other things except the money pass to you as well. I mean, that's like I think that's what Ludmila was trying to say.
Because we developed good models. State decided to develop national models like ours. We were involved in this training, but they just extended the culture from the institution.
Exactly.
And that's a risk.
You don't-
They will start developing.
You don't take only the money, you take other stuff as well.
they
Maybe you
have
don't
stuff
want.
also. And now
Which is-
we are fighting with them.
Sorry, I'm going to have to say this. Yeah. Let's stop using
Okay.
the word model.
The word?
Let's stop using the word model.
Yeah.
Governments wreck models.
Yeah.
They wreck models.
Yeah.
It's why we have a framework. It's a philosophy thing. It's here are things to attend to, and if you go with those things that you've got to attend to, then you can't fall back into doing what your government does, what your government does, what our government does.
Okay, so
Yeah,
where
so
are we now?
I'm just giving some like photos, some like give you like an understanding of why we try to make them homes. We are there at someone, just bring you back a bit to what we were saying before. So yes, here is again like Thanasis, and I think for me like this photograph is quite nice because it's like the way he's saying I'm the boss here. And for me that's why I have this image, because he is the boss in his room and that's it.
He's the owner.
He's the owner of the room. I mean, he feels the owner of the room. He doesn't have the contract, but he feels like the owner of the room. And like the room, like it's like very organized and neat and tidy, like him. So you go in his room and you understand that's his room. And for me, that's success in a way. And like again, like I mean, I can see sometimes like a place like. If it's a home, the way the people they sit around, you know, I mean, the way the people they move around. I mean, you can Bob, I mean, understands what I'm talking about. Like, if you see people like sitting a bit on the sofa, like a bit like that, I mean, that's okay. That's a home. I mean, that's like, I mean, there are some simple things like that we do it at home. I mean, that makes a difference, and you can feel it when you go in another place that has like the same characteristics, but people they sit in another way. They're a bit more careful in the way they sit. They're a bit more. So I mean, you can see that. So that's why I have this photo here, like people like feeling comfortable and like talking, and like here we have Thanasis and Maria and Ersi and Erika and Manolis and me some years before, and Erika, and here like so like this thing that someone is. Again, you start on what you like. You start on the strong points of every person. I mean, like Erika likes to cook, and sometimes, for example, like a friend of her, like she comes like at home, they cook together. You know, it's something that she enjoys. I mean, it's like that's what a home is. I mean, if you take it like, and we have a small garden, not really successful like the one that Rebecca has, but I mean, we started like yes, we need to improve a lot on that. We managed to grow up only lettuces successfully, and some like strawberries now, and some. But again, it's like something like this, like home feeling again. Yes, it's like this, like I think this is a bit like family, the photograph. I mean, and that's why I have it here. It's like a sense.
Anybody that comes and visits with me, and we go to the 3 houses in one day, don't eat the day before.
And then,
Because you can't get out without sharing a meal.
And otherwise, we will get really offended, eh?
And we've made this specially for you.
Yeah, because you have to eat all, and you have to say you like it. So I think like because the flats were like developed by families, somehow they reflect this like family atmosphere and this family spirits. I mean, family spirit.
3:05.
How much time do we have?
It's 5 to 3, 5 minutes to 3. I don't know what.
We finished at 3:30. We have 35 minutes.
We changed the timings.
I think 3:30, if I remember well.
So we should have. We need to finish at 1:15.
Okay, we're okay.
Okay.
I will go a bit like quicker, but not too much.
Okay.
So again, okay. I mean, you know all that. I mean, we want people to have choices, we want to have control over their life. And we run some self-advocacy groups as well with the people. And like the idea behind the advocacy groups that we have is like the way we see it, like 3 stages. the first stage being like I understand myself, I understand my strong points, I understand who am I, and the second stage, let's say, it's I learn my rights, all my rights, and the third stage, let's say, it is I learn to articulate, to communicate my rights. So we work like through these three stages with the advocacy groups we have. And again, I mean, like you build on what you have, on what works well. So I mean, people have like different activities that they prefer and where they feel like that they feel well and they have a good time, and they make choices here. They go out every day using different things. This is one of the self-advocacy groups that we have. And again, this third, let's say, value is like this community membership. And I think here very often in Greece at least, and I suppose maybe in other countries as well, there is like a confusion between like being in the community and being a part of the community. Because like sometimes like we stay to the physical presence, but like I mean we try to be part of the community and like to use the resources of the community, because I mean the community has like so many resources around. I mean, and like this is something that we try to work a lot on. I mean, and actually people that we support, I mean, they are like every day out. The weather is a bit better in Greece, even in the winter, and like I mean, people are every day out. I mean, like they go to the local swimming pool, they go to the local tavernas, to the local supermarkets, to the local bakeries, to the local groups like music groups or whatever in the community. I mean, museums or like cinema or whatever. They use the resources of the community. We try to use the resources of the community like every day, and like already Kula said that like for us it's like a way that's showing us that like we're doing something good is when like people that we support are outside in the community and everyone knows them by their name. I mean, so like everyone like, hey, how are you, Erica, today? Hey, Maria, how are you doing? I mean, that's like what says that like, yes, that we are doing something.
But the next stage, and the one we keep talking about and we struggle with, is the peace of mind stage, isn't it, for families?
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
How are things going to be when we're no longer there? We're old and frail or whatever. And the stuff that we started doing with Alan Vicky years and years ago, we need to bring back into the
Yeah.
I will talk a bit about that, about relationships and networks. Like I will talk a bit about that. So it's like some photos like of us being active and being in the community, shopping, participating like in like festivals and all that. This is like a good successful story. Like our Savrula, is the lady that you saw before. She started exploring her talent in photography, and like she's also making like woven carpets, and she's very good at that. And like there is like an art festival happening like once every year, and she participated there with her own like work, and like it was like great for her, because it's when the label changes, and instead of being a person with disabilities or whatever, you are an artist. That's what you are. You are an artist. She was an artist. That was all. And she introduced herself as an artist. She explained to the people that were coming here. She was selling her work, and that's also a good successful story. And we had like another person from us who was doing the same, and we will do it like this year again. And like that was like a very, very good thing. Like it changed a lot, like the way people perceive themselves. I mean, and like.
I was just going to ask, does she sell?
Sorry?
I was going to ask, does she sell her
yes, yes.
Yeah, she sold some of her photographs.
She
makes very good photographs.
Yeah, and she has been working on the next exhibition since it's 3 months now that she's working on that very seriously, and he talks about that, but she's expecting that, and she has another hat now. I mean, that's like. And again, we do things with art, we are artistic persons, and we collaborate with museums and that, we like that stuff. And of course, like holidays, and like going out, tavernas, and like coffee shops and things like that. People like having a good time as well. This is so important as well. Thanasis, Julie, and Stavroula are here in some holidays we had.
Προχώρησε λίγο στο μέλλον για να τα προλάβουμε όλα.
Yes, and some holidays here. And this is another good story again. Like this lady she's a member of the board. She's from the community, and based on the common interest in like meeting, they have fixed a group and they do that. I mean, like yes, because we have people who are not paid members of staff who are every day not every day, but like very often in staff in our flats. So I mean, as already Bob said, like I mean, we pay a lot of attention on relationships. So we try to maintain existing relationships and build new ones. And like this, during COVID, we had to step back. I mean, like most of us. But like after COVID, now we started like the last like 3-4 months. I mean, we're again like out and like trying to catch up and like, and we'll have some success stories here to share. These are two. Julie is a person we support. The lady on your left, and she's like he's like a really great guy. I mean, they used to go in the same like daycare center, and somehow we met, and they are like now they are really enjoying like each other like company, and they spend like really good time together. I mean, and so we make the connection there, and it stayed. And here's another connection we made like with some in another house around. People and this is like how we maintain existing relationships. Like these are like Erika and her sister and her cousin, and we work a lot on maintaining because you know that I mean some people like some relationships can get lost. I mean very easily, so we work a lot on maintaining existing relationships. This was another success story. Again, it's like Manolis, this guy. He has some difficulties and like he was going when he was like a bit better than now, he was going every morning like to a sports shop beside like the house, and this guy was the owner of the shop, and like they were spending like one every day like time together reading the sport newspapers, talking about football, all that stuff, like the good stuff, and again like family members like being together and having a good time. It happens every day or most of the time, and this is another like successful story. I want to share this story only because sometimes we need to insist. I mean, you know that. I mean, for example, this girl, like this lady Eleni, with sunglasses. I mean, we asked her, "Do you have like?" She came like staying with us like something like a year now, maybe less.
Yeah.
And we asked her in the beginning, "Do you have like any friends, someone you know?" I said, "No, not really." But after keep on asking, she said like, "Yes, I had like this friend from primary school, Georgia, but I don't know if she will remember me." And after we called her sister and said, like, "Do you think we can like try to find her and like create the connection?" She said, "No, please, no, there's no way you can do it. I mean, they haven't been together like for like 6, 7, 10 years. I mean, so don't bother, don't do that." But we insisted, and we called and we found a way. And now there's like, and the two friends they're so happy to meet, and like for both of them, it's great. Like we have to spend time together, and like it's a story saying like that you need to insist, even become like annoying sometimes. But like maybe you are not so annoying as you believe that you are, So and yes. I will stop now because I can tell many stories, but this was another like nice story that like Stavroula met like some family members and she hasn't seen like for at least 15 years, and she met with her cousins, with new family members. They joined again, and like they keep in touch now. And this is like good stories that we managed to have like over the last 6 months after the COVID. But we look in this direction like the last months, and as you said, you go where you look. I mean, we started looking more in this direction, and like good things are happening. Yes, and this is like another nice story, like where modern art connects with communities. Like this point, it's like a collective work of modern art. With different people were weaving like parts of this giant like tree as a symbol of the community living, people contributing and doing things together. It was in the Museum of Modern Art in Athens, and it was a great opportunity for like siblings, because these were siblings and people who work all together to do our contribution to this giant tree there, and it was like a very, very, very beautiful and a very symbolic somehow, like a piece of art, like connects very well with our culture and with our values. Yes, and it's like, okay, I mean, you have to be flexible. I mean, you know that. I mean, we already.
You managed to do that first?
It's me with my hair. I had longer hair at some point. So yes, I will not go into that. I mean, this, like, you know what person-centered planning is, but it's something that we do apply, and we work on that with people who have like on big tapes like that. We meet with family members and staff, and we decide. And after 6 months, we assess how we're doing, and we plan and all that. And this is something that we do, and it's in the core of our work, and it's very important that it brings together the people. I think that's the core importance is like that you bring people together. And for me, that's like makes a great difference. Yes, I will not go into that because, I mean, you know all that. You know the Good Life model. You know it like very, very well. Yes, I mean, I will stay only on the last bullet point. I mean, we discussed that a bit with Liz, like before as well. I mean, this shift of power, like from the expert to you are the expert. He or she is the passive, like, service user. I mean, we work a lot on breaking this down in all the staff meetings we have. I mean, all that. Like, we work a lot on that, on shifting, like this certainty, or like this, yes. And yes, I will finish a bit like with the challenges. I will start. You want me to start with the challenges?
Yes.
Yeah, I think the challenges. The challenges is for sure. You know, after you operate for like 20 years or more, and you spend like a lot of time like trying to survive, and after you manage to find a way to survive more or less, after it's easy to get stuck and stay there and say, I'm okay. I can just continue what I'm doing. I mean, I tried so hard to arrive here. Now I arrived. I'm okay. I enjoy what I have. But I think it's like very important to continue developing and continue exploring like new options. And I think for me, it's the time to develop also new services. We have like the supported living model, it's working well, okay, but we need to develop new models because there's not one model that fits everyone. I mean, as you already know, we have this idea of developing something more like an outreach kind of service where we support people in their place in a more flexible way. And this is one, or develop a respite service as well, develop like alternative services as well, and not only what we have. So that's, I think, for me, this is like the real challenge for the future for us. That's me. Done. I finished.
Thank you very much.
I think you want to continue.
Concerns the board is that we need younger people to join, younger parents. That means younger tenants in the houses. And we are trying for that. We had 2 new entries in the board so far. And we have tried something that is not done in Greece. It's a group of the siblings. We have a brilliant psychologist. It's a very nice person. And she managed to get them together and become a big company, a lot of friends. and they go out on picnics and they visit the museum together and they go and have an ouzo. That was πλάγιος τρόπος, another way of
indirect, let's say.
indirect to bring them together so they can help each other when we are gone, like we do now. All the parents are supportive to each other family. And I'm very glad to see that the siblings now are getting there. They know each other. They made a very nice video for the symposium we had for the 20 years themselves. And I hope that this work out well after we are gone, and they will take over the lives of their brothers and sisters.
And I think also like with some things like that is like you started, you don't know exactly where you will go. I mean, because we started like in a way, in a more structured way. People will come and we'll have some kind of meetings, the siblings, and they will express their anxieties and things. That's how we started. But it developed to something else. It developed to something much more informal, and that's why it continues. Because people don't want so much to come and sit around the table and talk about like problems. I mean, okay, you can do that as well, but like you want to have a good time as well, and like so it developed like in a different way than we had expected it to develop, and like I think it developed organically and naturally, and it's like something nice that is happening. I don't know where it will go, but it's something nice.
One other thing is that when we started, of course, we were thinking about the lives of our children with disabilities. What we didn't expect to happen, it was how our lives as a family improved, the quality of our life. We could go to a cinema and not try to find babysitting for our child. And that brings me to the peace of mind Rebecca was talking yesterday, because now I know when I'm gone, my daughter will be in a house that she has lived there for so long. She has her friends around her. She has people who love her and take care of her. And of course, she had the family to be around and help. And this is the peace of mind. It is an excellent English expression that I'm going to use now. Because I thought I was saying security inside, but peace of mind is a very good...
It expresses the feelings.
Good Greek equivalent that we would love to hear about when you...
Yeah, we'll try, yes. If we think of something different, we'll let you know.
Well, the peer, the sibling group, I've never come across
It's
before.
genius, that
Sitting
isn't
and
it?
doing
It really is genius, that.
We'll have a very
Yeah.
good Canadian connection for you, and if for that group, if they want. We have,
Yeah.
You know, when you were talking about people, they came together because there were problems and they wanted to bring them around a beer and all my life. And then it became more, let's have some fun together.
Yeah,
And so
exactly.
there's this kind of contraction, right? Big and small. And we have a group now, a national group in Canada of siblings that started out that way and have, they have grown, and they're kind of in this big expansive space right now. And they're doing they have a grant to figure out financial literacy for siblings. So how to look at how the money piece, right? How because a big worry was when my mom and dad die, there might be a legacy, but maybe not. And I need to understand as a sibling, what does it mean to possibly hold the responsibility? And so they've been working on that project, and it has grown and grown. So
Yeah.
they're
We'll get in
this is the
touch
second
and
time.
get...
I used this word once yesterday, but they're kick-ass. They really are kick-ass.
Yeah.
There's a group in England as well called SIBS.
Yeah.
But what I loved about that is it kind of lets have some ouzo and support each other, right? Like there's a limit to campaigning, isn't there? Like how much energy you can whack into that, but just that, I think it's really, because I've kind of, so in my experience with supporting people, you deal loads with people's parents, but you kind of almost forget that. People have got brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
But they feel less important, but actually they're Vitally important.
Yeah.
Yes,
And they can be
yes.
very important for the future as well. I mean,
And important all the time. You know, there's
Yeah.
relationships that you might just.
they have been important
might
from
just
the
do
beginning.
that.
Yeah.
Well, since we started, we were talking about it. You don't want to leave a dowry to the brother or the sister, the child with a disability. We had that in mind, but we we had a lot of things to do, and finally 3 years ago, in the middle of COVID, we decided to start. No, we started just before COVID, but then they try and continued through.
No, if you survive the COVID period, then you can continue forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you can go everywhere. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I think that that's a very nice example of how parents can come together and solve issues, and I think that this is a very, very nice example and shows your strengths, and capacities and so on and so on.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you for
because
listening.
Sometimes it is very difficult for parents to come like that together,
It's always, not sometimes, it's always.
Yes.
It's very difficult. I think that it was a leader among the parents that could organize all that.
Yeah.
She's there.
She's that. Congratulations. That's a very nice moment.
Thank-
It's a beautiful model, and we've got lots of things to learn from that. And I know Bob has tried in this country to try and bring the parents together to sort of mobilise a sort of why not saying why
They
couldn't
can
we
hear
do this,
for
but
you.
actually, and I think there's a very different cultural dynamic here, which is in a sense there's an expectation that the state will provide.
Yeah.
So actually people don't step up, but I think in the climate that we're living in now and the austerity, no money, that these are the things that we're going to have to be intentionally trying to grow. And that was the word that came from me, which is what you've done is intentionally thought we need to do something.
Oh yes, yes.
So it was an intentional act,
Yeah.
which is great.
There was no other choice. I mean,
No.
somehow. Sometimes you do things, we don't have, when you don't have another choice. I mean, so.
That's right. It was our responsibility, and I wanted always to have control for my child. So did the other parents, and I don't mean control in a bad way, in a way that I know that there is quality in her life. I want to know that, and that this is what I'm saying to her sister. You have to check: is she clean? Is she healthy? When you go away, when you visit and you go away, does she cry or does she say, wave, bye-bye, and she's happy staying behind? I think these are indicates what kind of life she has in her home.